Hey everyone, welcome back to Mini Bike Mike's Garage. It is a rainy Friday morning. I don't know if you can see the rain falling out there. And I don't feel like getting wet today, so we're not going to ride a bike. But I have had a tremendous week with this little CT70 clone, this 2022 IceBear Champion that we picked up a couple weeks ago. And what a fun little bike this thing has been. I've got 55 miles in, according to my GPS speedometer. It's interesting that the speedometer on this thing, the odometer seems to be accurate. It says 88 and 7/10 kilometers, 88.7 kilometers, which Google tells me that's pretty much the same thing as 55 miles. So the odometer reads fairly accurate on this thing, but the speedometer is not accurate at all. At wide open throttle, running about 40 to 45 mile an hour, it's registering 140 kilometers instead of the 60 kilometers it should be reading. So anyway, that's really the only complaint I have with this bike, is that inaccurate speedometer. The rest of it, man, it rides nice, it runs nice. I just have really enjoyed it. So this week, in its stock form, I consistently hit 46 to 47 mile an hour. I think my top speed was 47.1 on a country road, flat stretch, where I got to wind it out. No headwind, no tailwind, it was a nice day just to ride. And that's pretty much, and it's with stock tires, gearing, carb, exhaust. 47, I think, was about what you're going to get out of this thing. And I didn't tuck and do all that trying to get a little aerodynamics, so I was just riding it normal. So I've recorded all that information, and now I'm ready to move on. So yesterday it started raining, and I got bored. And so as you can see, I pulled the carburetor off of it, and I have put an aftermarket, it's on the other side. I get it off of eBay. It's called a Molkt, M-O-L-K-T. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description for that. And then the other thing I did was cut out, I guess this is like a catalytic converter. Can you see through it? Yeah, there you can see through it. It's got like a honeycomb stuff in it. Yeah. Anyway, cut that out. Oh, I drilled the end of the exhaust out too. See the little holes around the larger center hole, the little holes I drilled out. And with that, cutting out the converter and the carburetor, I ran it late yesterday afternoon. I've got about a quarter of a mile stretch in front of my shop with stop signs on each end, so you can't, you can only wind out so much. And in that short period of time, I hit 50.2. I gained over 3 miles an hour, and it hadn't hit top speed yet. I think with this gearing and these tires, with just the carb and the exhaust change, we're going to hit probably 53 mile an hour, I would guess. So I'm going to wait until next week and do some runs, get some top speed runs on these tires that are on it, that are 3.5s by 10s. Then we're going to swap to a set of Trail 70 4 by 10s that I have ready. And then eventually we're going to go to 120 90 10s. And I'm going to leave the gearing the same. I believe this bike has 16 front and 32 rear. I'm going to leave that all alone and run these tires, record all the speeds and so forth. And then when I get to the biggest tires, if I feel like a gearing change may benefit the bike, we may tinker with putting a 17 or something in the front. I'm not going to mess with the back. 32 is about as small as I want to go back there. So really haven't done any other mods to it. I did change that shifter. It had a heel toe shifter, and the heel part of it kept me from getting my shoe. I kept feeling like I was resting on that, and I was just riding the bike out here on this last inch of the pegs, which was uncomfortable. So I put that, made that a little bit better. I de-stickered it, obviously. So once I get the speed runs done with the tires, that's probably all the performance stuff I'm going to do with this bike. Anything done in the future will be aesthetic, to make it just look a little bit better. Upgrade, not upgrade, but just change out some turn signals and seat and do some things. Try and make it look a little bit more like an original Honda Trail 70. Not that I'm trying to disguise it or anything. That's the look I prefer. So what to expect early next week? You'll see a video with the test runs on these tires. We'll wrap this bike up, and then we will start all over the process of titling and doing everything with the Amigo Rocky so that we can compare the two bikes. That one, the red one here, the Amigo Rocky, is a 4-speed manual, where this one has a 4-speed semi-automatic. I'll be curious to see if the transmissions make a difference as far as gearing, how they're geared, as far as speed runs and those sort of things. So anyway, do you want to hear it with the carb and the... Warm up, baby. I really like it. It's a fun little bike. Most of the bikes I ride are the old pogo stick front end Trail 70s, and they're not bad, but wow, is this thing a lot better ride. And I've seen on Facebook pages guys talk about changing fork oil and shocks. I don't really have a problem with the way this one rides as is. Mine's pretty comfortable, or what I consider comfortable. I guess if you were on a rougher terrain and maybe cycling the suspension more, maybe you might want to make some upgrades to the suspension, but I'm pretty happy. I don't plan on making any changes. We did fix the swing arm in the last video, and we're about 30 miles in on that fix, and it has zero movement in that, so that worked out really well, or seems to be working out. We will continue to keep an eye on that. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and you'll see a video where I did a swing arm fix on this bike. Only cost me about $1 to fix it. So anyway, I think I've jabbered on long enough. People have asked about the differences between these clones and an original Honda Trail 70. Now, got to remember, the clones are based on the very last Trail 70s that were built in the 90s. They're not a copy of the bikes from the early 70s. They're similar to the like that K4, the 75s, but they're really based on the 90s versions bikes. They got the 12-volt engine. Now, of course, the clones have got some upgrades like the front disc brake. They got electric start. Everything else is pretty much similar, I think. Headlight and turn signals all mount about the same. For some reason, they did go back to the retro fold-down handlebars where the 90s CT70s had the motocross style, handlebars. So anyway, like I said, jabbered long enough. I'll let you go. Everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you early next week. We do a video, and we'll give our final results on tire changes and what kind of speeds we hit. Everybody have a great day. See ya.